What's up, guys, and welcome to Ducked Up Waterfowl. My name is Zach, and this is my waterfowl channel. I got into waterfowl hunting last year, and had a super good time. Got hooked on it. I've hunted a lot of things in my lifetime, but shooting birds out the sky is by far one of my favorites. So, this being my second year, everybody that's ever gonna do anything ought to do it bigger and better every time. And that's kind of how I roll. So, one of the things that we're gonna cover today is a very unique way of getting to where you need to go, and possibly hunting out of your mode of transportation. Now, what I'm talking about here is kayak hunting, or even stealth boat hunting. I guess those little beaver tails and whatnot, canoes and stuff, they count too, but mostly today we're talking about kayaks. What I got here today is a Pelican Rise 100 10-foot angling kayak. By angling, I just mean it's just got two rod holders in the back. It's nothing fancy. Got it at a cheap Dunham special. Used all my coupons and stuff, because we broke people around here by the time you gotta buy ammunition. And got that and the boat and the paddle for $300. Rocked it all. Now, I've had it for a couple years now. But anyways, we wanted to turn it into a duck hunting boat. So that's what we did here. And I got this idea, or this design, from my hunting buddy, the guy that got me into it, my good buddy Barlow. So let's take a look and see what we got here. Alright, here we have the Pelican Rise 100 sit-in angling kayak. Nothing fancy, like I said. Pretty cheap. Not your Send H12 or H10s or anything like that. It's not a old timer or whatever those other fancy kayaks are. It's just a basic two-piece Ram-X hull. Nothing fancy. Anyways, what we got here on top, and we'll get into the stuff as we undress it in a way. What we got here on top is a ghillie thread from Amazon. It comes in a 2-pack. It took me 6 packs total, so 3 units of $18 or so on Amazon. Ends up coming out to about 50-60 bucks for this 10-foot model. And I didn't quite get all the way up in here. It does go back pretty far, but gotta give yourself some space. Okay, now all this thread right here is all individually tied on, and what is tied on to is, well, let me see, I'm sure we got some pieces around here. Yeah, we got some pieces around here. Is gardening fence like this. This is just a trimmed off piece from when I put it on and was shaping it, if you will. So what we have here is, from all the way front to back, was a 4-foot wide piece of this stuff. Garden fencing, or poultry fencing, whatever you want to call it. My buddy hooked me up with this. He had enough left over after his kayak, so all I actually had to do was purchase the thread. I had zip strips and everything, so I just had to purchase the thread. So after we got all the supplies, the thread, the fencing, the zip strips, once we got all that here, basically what we did was we took that whole roll, rolled it all the way down here, zip stripped it on the front, pulled it tight, zip stripped it on the back, and then in here you'll see a couple zip strips. I drilled right through the top of my hole. I don't plan on or not my hole, but my poop deck. Yep, I drilled right through that, some holes, and zip stripped it so it keeps it nice and tight, and it keeps it snug all the way around. That way you get any snags or anything, it's not going to get loose on you. Hopefully. I've not actually tested this on the water yet. So we got it tight. We got zip strips down and through there, all through here. The zip strips hold the fencing on. And as I pull this to the side, you'll see that we have, let me change hands here, we have a Rise 100X angling boat. And as you'll see all the way through, it's just a boat. Just a kayak. Now what we have here, and I don't know if you can see it, is about every 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches, kind of spread out in a kind of a diamond fashion. I've tied all this thread on. Now I do it in strands of 10 or less. I'd say the preference is 6, 7, maybe 8 threads per space that you tie it on. This might give you a good idea. You can see I had gone left to right, and you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I came down a whole row. So I went from 1 and then came down 1 row and went to the next one and did the same thing, however it was gapped out. And then I kind of did some edges, and I was thinking about maybe taping this up or doing something with it so these little edges don't get caught on anything. But I haven't settled on anything specific yet. But I just wanted to give you the rundown of what is a under $100 blind. As you can see, this, if I push it all back out of the way, it exposes big openings. And you're probably thinking, well, man, that looks terrible. Well, here's where this gets fun. This is just a base blind. Now I can cut these zip strips off, take this off, and then just use my kayak for a fishing kayak, and I can put it back on next season. But what you can do with all these gaps in here is once you get your thread figured out and laid however you want it, is you come in through these gaps and you go and get some natural brush, and you go through here and natural brush it. Because right now, as it sits, it looks like a big grass pile, big mound. Well, what makes it look more natural is when you bring some high grass off the top of it, kind of cover that up from behind. If I'm backed in, you want it to cover you up from behind. Anything sails over your head, you're not getting called, and you're not spooking no birds. So this is just a base, and this will change according to where I'm hunting, what I'm using it for. I could put greens in there, I could put tans in there, I could basically mold it to look however I want. A couple little specific details on this. Now you can see it's pelican, I went a little thick in here to cover up all the shiny stuff best you can. We start tying, and you might be wondering how low you go. I went a little extra low. Most of this bottom stuff is going to sit in the water. The thread is a water resistant, not waterproof, but it's a propylene thread. And you can see right here, we start tying it on at the gunnel, I guess you'd call it a gunnel. We start tying it on at the seam level. That way they give me a good chance to see where I was, because I tried to get this done as cheap as possible. So I could probably go and buy a couple more packs and put a couple more packs of this thread on here. But I'll tell you, it takes some time. If you got time and you don't got money, this is a great option. If you got money and no time, then you might pay me to do it. Or you might look for one of those fancy $200 plus kayak blinds that I don't think look anywhere near as good as this. You can fluff it up, you can do whatever you want with it. You can make it look straight. We haven't tested it yet. Our next video, my buddy has a sit-in 10 or 12 footer that he just done up just the same way. The guy that I got the idea from, he did it up the same way. So we're gonna, hopefully, once this weather starts to chill out, we will take them out and test them. We're super excited. We're gonna go out. We kind of stayed in our county last year. Ooh, look a little gray out there. We stayed in our county for the most part. We did get out a little bit, but we're super excited to get out and travel. We don't have to take a big boat with us all the time. And some of the times in Michigan that we found, to get to these really good spots that nobody else really goes to or anything, you gotta have something small like the kayak to get in there. So it just makes it easier for us, if we want to hunt solo. It makes it, if somebody's got to work, we just throw the decoys on the back and let it ride. But I have been seeing a lot of people getting kayaks, really interested in doing kind of the solo thing. What's it gonna take to get a blind on my kayak so I can go hunting? And like I said, if you got time, this took about 20 hours, or maybe even a little bit more. There was some beer drinking and some fooling around in there. But if you got the time, and you got the patience, and you can tie some pretty basic knots and run some zip strips and some scissors, you can do this. Like I said, I don't think anything touches it as far as buying a product online and strapping it onto your kayak. Yeah, I drilled a few holes. And I'll drill some more, actually. Let me touch into that, because here's another important part. My kayak is $300. Well, maybe close to $400 now. My new duck hunting gun is $1,000. And I'm a pretty good kayaker, and I got safety equipment. But what do you do about your gun? You don't want to lose your gun. So what we've done, actually, is you can't see it, but right here, and right here, there's on each side here, right in here, right there. Wow, can't believe I found it first try. Lucky me, always finding the hole. We're gonna tie some paracord in there, and what that's gonna do is we're gonna have basically a tether for the shotgun. So the shotgun will be connected to the boat at all times. That way, if anything happens, something gets silly, accidents happen all the time, my gun will stay attached to my boat and won't be losing my gun. I've heard people losing their guns out in the water. In fact, I know where some guns are if you could get them. But anyways, that's something I was super nervous about. Didn't want to lose any guns. We're going to do the same thing with the paddles. We'll tie the paddle on. I was thinking about running some small rebar stakes to stick in the ground left and right, tie on a little loop left and right, use it as an anchor. So that way when you back up in the marsh, you do your little duck waddle backing up into the marsh with your kayak. You put 2 stakes down, tie a little rope that you have fixed onto your kayak, and you get to moving around shooting. You shouldn't flow, you shouldn't be flowing back out into the waterway or whatever, if you're in a river. It should hold you still. So these are a couple things that we're going to try out, and we'll test, and we'll see how they work. Other than that, this is all DIY. We just wanted to share it with you. We're super excited for duck season coming up. I'm sure you guys have heard enough of me blabbing, so get after it, man. Build you a duck blind. You won't regret it.